Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing One Knight's Dilemma. Now, if you haven't guessed, and I'm sure you have, the knight in the title does mean that we are going to be playing with a knight's move constraint today. Anti-knight move, I should be more specific. The part that I'm a little bit worried about is the dilemma part. So I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be like a tough puzzle to crack where you have to try and basically figure out one of two valid options, well, hopefully only just one of two valid options, to try and get into the puzzle. And you can see Sleuth here struggling with the two options ahead of him, although I don't really see why. One seems to be clearly heading towards some kind of purple Halloween monster, and on the right hand side seems to be nice, bright, clear forest, so I'm not sure what the confusion is about. Hopefully it will be equally easy to determine what is the right path in today's puzzle. Just a quick shout out to constructors. I know that Halloween is just around the corner. If you do want to create some kind of Halloween special, I'd love to feature it, but of course entirely up to you. Anyhow, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets, and this is indeed a series. Sorry, I'm kind of reacting thinking that looks weird, in the sense that my screen is sort of offset a little bit, so apologies. Let me see if I can fix it. Does that look roughly right? Roughly passable. I'll figure out what happened later. So it is the series from Megano33, where he tends to have a lot of anti-knight puzzles. I'm hoping this is not going to be one of the ones where I've struggled with as I have done in the past. Rules-wise, we've got the following. Normal Sudoku rules apply, means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Then we have, of course, the anti-knight move. Cells separated by knight's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. This cell is a 2, obviously nothing the same column, row, box, but also anything that is a chess knight's move away, so one step to the side, 2 steps forward, that L shape, any of these cells that are a knight's move away cannot be a 2 either. Digits and cages do not repeat and sum to the clue in the top left. That means that these two cells add up to 5 without the 2 being able possible in either of them. That would be 1, 4, for example. These 3 are 8, etc., etc. No repeats in any of them. Adjacent digits along a green German whisper line must differ by at least 5. So if this cell here, actually the anti-knight move is actually quite, never mind, not going to say anything now. If this cell here was a 2, the neighboring cells would have to be 7, 8, or 9 to be 5 or more away. If this cell here was an 8, this would have to be 1 or 2 or 3 to be 5 or more away. And we oscillate back and forth from low digits 1, 2, 3, 4, high digits 6, 7, 8, 9, and no 5s. Last but not least, we've got the digits along each arrow. Hang on, I'm missing something. Yeah, I've missed a renban. Digits along a magenta renban form a set of consecutive non-repeating digits in any order. So essentially, we need 5 consecutive cells in here. If there's a 2 on there, that would mean that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would work. Could also be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would also work. What I couldn't do is do something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. They're no longer consecutive. I also cannot do any repeats as such, even if it's allowed under other rules. And then last but not least, we've got an arrow sum. The digits along each arrow must sum to the digit in the circled cell. What it's really saying is that these 3 cells are the same because it's a single cell arrow. So that's all the rules we have for today. As always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. With that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I'm sure you've noticed that a couple of the cages, like the 3, are forced, and the 17 are forced, and they're both pointing at this cell. So I don't know if this is interesting, but it's got to be. So if it's a low digit, it's 3, 4, which would put a lot of pressure on here, in that they have to be from 8, 9, but not enough pressure. So let me try something else. Let me just do a bit of coloring. Remember, we oscillate back and forth. We don't know what they are, but we do know that these cells are going to be the same polarity. Maybe that's not the break-in and I kind of jumped ahead a bit. Admittedly, the fact that this is not 8 or 9 anywhere inside the 11 cage tells us that this is 4-7. No, it could also be 5-6. Right, just quickly, anti-knight move means that this cell can see this cell, obviously with Sudoku, but also this cell with anti-knight move. So if whatever this cell is, whether it's 8 or 9, it can see both of them and vice versa. So 8 or 9 and not inside this 11. To get to 11 using two cells, 9-2, 8-3 have been removed, 4-7 works, and then the last option that also works is 5-6. Although the 5 can't be in this cell because it would duplicate it, and that would be on the German whisper line. So that's 6, that's 5. That means this is 4, 6, or 7. And then this is 4, 6, or 7, right? Okay, and it bounces back in here. That can't be a 7, because that would require it to be a 2, and then it would break this 3 cage for the exact same logic that we went through in here. So 7 is off the table, and this is not a 4 as a result. Now this is either 3 or 5, depending on whether this is 4 or 6. This would be forced. This would have to be 1 or 9 to be 5 or more away from the 4 or 6. Because this is not 4 or 6, that's not what I meant to say. It's not 1 or 9. It can be 1 or 9. It can be a purple 1, 9. Essentially what I was thinking about is 3, 4, 6, 7 in here. And, I could absolutely still do something like, 6 and double 1. So, that's not true, what I was about to say. How is this helping me? No 5s, no 5, no 5, but it's not really very much to go on. An 8 cage and 3 cells has to have 1. If it doesn't contain 1, it's 2, 3, 4, and that's already at 9. Maybe this is the dilemma. It's not like a fork in the road. It's just like, can he find the break-in? 3 minutes in. It's a good question. It's a really good question. Sorry, it's a bit of a long pause on my part, but I'm genuinely trying to get a sense of what's going on. And I'm struggling. So I'm gonna kind of say something here. Because of this 4-6, I don't think this renban can contain any of them. If we're getting fancy anti-knight move, this cell sees all of these, this cell sees that, this cell sees this, like there can't be one of the 4s or 6s is not on this renban, which I think makes it an extreme renban. It's kind of what I'm clutching at. Because if this is 6 and this is 5 cells, it will have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if it's 4, it would have to be 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm kind of now wondering if that 8 cage is actually helping us. So let me just think around, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is that even possible? I think the answer to that is almost certainly not. So the 1 can't be in there because it has to be inside the 8 cage. The 8 cage is made up of 1, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 5. And then I'd end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is, no, yeah, so I would end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells that are made up of the same 5 digits of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 6 cells. So that's not going to work. So long answer is this does have to be 6, 7, 8, 9. And therefore this cell has to be 4, this has to be 9, and we have our break-in. Took me a while to spot. Right, so that's the colors. That 4 gives me a 5 in here. Gives me a 7 in there, which is helpful. Now none of these can be a 7 anymore. Sudoku and then night move. That gives me a 6, 8, 9 triple, meaning the 6 has to be in one of these two cells. So 6 is in none of these cells. Not sure I can do much more just yet. But interesting break-in for sure. 4s sees both of these two cells in the 5, and that can't be 1, 4 anymore. It has to be 2, 3. 9 in here places no pressure on this cell, so this is 1, 2, 3. This is a high digit. It's got to be 6 or 7, meaning this is 1 or 2. This is a high digit that can basically be anything. So not particularly useful. 5 not here. 5 not there because of night move. Still back to these 3 cells though. Less exciting. Do I try and sort of push what I was doing there a bit further? So 4 is none of these. I can still hide the 4 in here though, so it doesn't have to be inside the 8 to make this 1, 3, 4. No, too far. Right, what about these cells? Let's think about it for a second. So, and we may as well just use colors to help us. At least it helps me talk about it. If purple is low, it'd have to be 3. And then that would have to be 8. It's got to be 3 because 1, 2, and 4 are all looking at the cell. And then obviously that can't be 9, so it'd have to be 8. Then we're back to a low digit that is not 3 or 4. It would be 1, 2. Specifically, it's this 1, 2. So that's one set of possibilities. Let me just think about that 7. Well, it wouldn't be in any of these cells. It would have to be in here. And you can see that 9 can't be any of these. Potentially neither can the 8, so it would have to have a 6. So it's essentially 6, 7, 8 or 5, 6, 7. So far, not breaking. Actually, that 3 removes a 3 from here. You end up with a 1, 2 pair. And the remaining digits are 3, 5, and 6. Now, the 3 wouldn't work in here. But I guess, long story short, nothing's breaking, and that 7 would require a 6 in here because of night move, and therefore this would have to be 1. This would have to be 2. That wouldn't be a 6. I mean, I don't know how much further I'm going to take this. This is like proving that it's working, and I just don't seem to be able to break it. Okay, so that was one possibility. I don't particularly want to remove all of these pencil marks. I'm going to just undo that bit of logic. Essentially that German whisper line, I just want to have it as it was. Although admittedly, I may as well just 6, 1, and 2. So we know that would have been 2. Interesting. Okay, let's keep going. So if this is what happens if that was low. If that was low, well, I still have a 4 looking at it. Obviously, you can't have a 4 in here with a double 9. And I can't have a 3 either because the 9, because 3 has to be surrounded by 8 and 9, and the 9 can't be in either of these cells. So 3 would still be too high. So it'd have to be 1, 2, a different 1, 2 from this cell, which would make it the same as this one, and these two would end up being the same. And then 2 high digits that are not 9 we've established, but essentially anything else, including a 6, so 6, 7, 8. Now, when that happens, I still need to place a 3. So hang on, if this is 1, 2, this is 1, 2. I've already placed all of the 1, 2s. and then 6, 7, 8. And then essentially I have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, I mean, technically the 3 could still be in here somewhere. You know, I could have, no, it couldn't. So I'm going to delete both of these. So if I put a 3 somewhere in here, given the remaining digits are 5, 6, 7, and 8, I'm going to have to join it with a 4, which neither of these can be. And that's true regardless of where the 3 is. So interestingly, the 3 has to be one of these two cells in both choices. And I mean, it wouldn't be 3, 5, 6 anymore necessarily. It would include a 3, but it could include 5, 6, or 8 this time rather than 7. And then this wouldn't be 5, it would be 6, 7, 8. And then these 3 cells, this renban, which doesn't include a 9, or a 4, so it's always from 5, 6, 7, 8. And this cell clearly can't be an 8. So that's a full pencil mark. So either 5, 6, 7 or 6, 7, 8. Now, interestingly, two of the high, it can include 5, 6, for example, in here. I was about to say two of the high digits are in there, so it places an immense amount of pressure on these, but not quite. I did say that this is either 5, 6, 7 or 6, 7, 8. 6 and 7 are always on there. Now this 6, 7 sees both of these cells. So this 6, 7 has to be in here. That can't be a 5 or an 8. It has to be 6 or 7. It's a fascinating puzzle, but like, oh, and it can't be 6 or 7 because of that 7. That's got to be 6. Therefore, that has to be 6. Therefore, these have to be 1. That's not a 1. That's 2 8s. We'll deal with that in a second. 6 is gone from these. And this is either 5, 7 or 8, 7. No 6 in here. No 6 in there. 5 is definitely in one of these two cells because it's none of these, as is the 3. So that's not an 8. That's 3, 5 pair, and this is a 2, 7, 8 triple. This is like an immensely clever puzzle. It is 2 stars, I should have mentioned at the beginning. So I'm not surprised that it requires a lot of attention to try and make some progress. I'm actually wondering, why couldn't that be 3? If that's 8 and that's 3, yes, because that couldn't be 1, 2. So no, my logic is still solid and sound. Okay. Tough puzzle though, for sure. So one of these is a 2. And the irony is they see a definite 2 in here. So knight's move is going to help us, but it doesn't seem to be able to right now. Down here, again, the 4s means that there is no 4 in here. So 4, 8 is off the table. But I could do 9, 3 and I could do 5, 7. 7 is in here. One without 6. I mean, like, clearly just not making progress or having a look around. It's not helpful. This can't be 1, 2, 5. So the way to think about this is, essentially, I would need both of the 1, 2s and the 5. Now this cell is one of the 1, 2s. This is a 5. They're both seeing both of these cells. I can't hide them both in here. So this is definitely 1, 3, 4. That's not a 5, because if knights move, that's a 5. Can that be 6, 7, 8, 9? It could be. Essentially, it would be one of these. That's fine. And of course, it could be 2. Okay. Why is that significant? It's certainly lost on me right now. Now, the remaining cells in here, interestingly, none of these cells could be a 2. Obviously, in here, because it sees both of these in Sudoku. This cell, yeah, sees both of them. Knights move and Sudoku in the same box. So where is 2 in row 2? Well, it's not these 2 cells. It's got to be only in here. Then we have a 6, 8, 9 triple. Same logic about the 3s, by the way. Neither of these could be a 3. So 3 has to be in one of these 2 cells. That's not a 3. Then in here, I have essentially a 1, 4 and a 5. And it's essentially this 1, 4. Which also means 5's in one of these 2 cells per Sudoku. Did I already mention, like, I'm finding this puzzle quite tricky? How are we doing? 17 minutes. So that's 5. These would be 5. This would be 5. This would be 5. One of these would be 5. One of these would be 5. And then I'd have to put it in the middle in here. I mean, all of that works. This can't be 1. This can't be 1. This could be 1. Essentially, 1 is fairly restricted between these cells. I mean, I am going to go for it. This is clutching at straws. I know that. But 1's in column 5. And then 2 can't be here. It can't be there because there's a 1, 2 pair. It's down here. 3, 4, 5 are all accounted for. 6 can't be either of these. It joins the 1. So that can't be a 2. That is a 2. That can't be a 2 as a result. That's an 8. That means that's high. This has to be low. So that's 3. That's 2. And I can't imagine that's the intended path, by the way, but sorry, wrong digit, 8. But I'm going to take it. That means that's 7, and therefore that has to be 5. And yeah, that is quite a helpful 5, because that's a 5. No, that's not the helpful 5 that I wanted. That's 3, that's 5. It's a different 5. And 1 6s are not necessarily resolved. Seven and 9 are not here. So this is 4, 5. Three, of course, gave me 2 and 3. 2's not here. 2's not there. 2's not there. That's like incredible. That's 2. 2's down here. So this is 5 with a 6, 7, 8, 9. 2's are none of these. Sudoku, of course, sorry, night move says 1, 2. These are not 2s. One of these is a 2. Actually, not that one. That's 2. I think we're nearly done with 2s. Yeah, we are. 3 sees both of these, so this is not 9-3. We already established earlier it's not 4-7. Sorry, 4-8. It's got to be 5-7 in some order, unresolved order. Seven, eight, nine, triple means I have 1, 5, 6 remaining. 1 and 6 can't be here. That's a 5. That's, these two are 1, 6 pairs. Oh, ho, 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 ho. I broke something. How did I break that? I mean, it just the obvious part. Knight move is removing 6 from both of these cells. My deductions that got me here seemed like solid. So that's a genuine surprise. Unless I made a mistake with the 2s. No, places a 2 here. Then these couldn't be a 2, and we've already eliminated the 2 from the 8 cage, and they weren't on the renban, so the 2 in here was forced. Of course, that places a 2 here. So where do I have the 6 then? If it wasn't in here. And the reason I removed it from there is one of these had to be a 6, given it's a 6, 8, 9 triple. And if there is a 6 in one of these two cells, none of them are 6. I'm missing a digit. I was missing a digit. It's that 5. I was playing with a 4-cell renban. Dear oh dear. So sorry about that. I don't know how far I'm going to have to go here. And I'm going to go this far. The deduction I think about this 2 that gave me this 8 is fine. But I do need to remove these 5s. Oh dear. That's like, I don't know how much of a setback this will be. I don't know how I didn't pick up on that earlier. Then it does still allow me, ooh, does it? Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't force a 6 in here anymore. So 6 is actually allowed in all of these cells. Oh goodness. Unwinding all of this is not going to be fun. I'm sure you guys were screaming at your screen. That would still be 7. That would still be 5, supposedly. Let's just think about that for a second. I guess 6s are none of these. 6 would have to be one of these 3 cells, which means that's not a 6. Not that I'm at all convinced, by the way, that I haven't necessarily made a mistake somewhere else that's going to catch me out. One of these 2 cells is an 8, just Sudoku, which means that neither of this one can never be an 8 because it sees both of them. So that's 9, that's 8. That removes the 8 option from here. No 9 in there. Oh yeah, that's not enough to move me forward, is it? That 5 gave me 3 and 5, so that's still solid. That's still 2, that's still 3. That 2 is still correct. Is it? Yeah, because neither of these could be a 2, so that was the only place for it, yeah. Which means none of these could be a 2, so that's still a 2. That is still a 2, except this time the 6 is on the renban here. And therefore that's not a 6. So that's a 5-9 pair now, which just a different conclusion. The 3 again has to be in one of these two cells. So there's essentially a 1, 4 and a 6 this time around, not a 5. Five, 9 means that's not a 9. So this is 6, 7, 8 triple. Can I do anything with this? Seemingly not yet. Yeah, that was such a rookie mistake. 1s are not here. That's a 1. Then I'm left with 3, 4, 7, I'm going to say. Looks it. But seemingly could be any of them. Yeah, that is still correct. So this is still 5, 7. Neither of these are 7. Just looking around for more Sudoku that would help me. 6 is in one or two cells, not very useful. The 9 in here, why does that help? Kind of does. So 9, 9, knight move, means that 9 is in one of these two cells. So 9 is in here alongside the 4. And then there's essentially another 1, 6, 5, 7. You know, 1, 6, 7 is in here and not 9. So this is actually very restricted. This is 4 or 5. One is one of two cells in here. You can see it's almost like deliberately the ones don't line up to help me make some progress here. 5 can't be there. 7 is not here. 7 is in one of these two cells. It's just not enough. "28 minutes. Now I'm kind of hoping that I did manage to recover, by the way, and like I'm not trying to solve something that is unsolvable by some bad assumption that I made earlier with that silly mistake. We can use the 1 again. That's a 1. Just row 3, there's no other place for it, which makes this 6, which makes this 1. No 6s. Only place for a 6 now is in here. Therefore that's 7, that's 5. That means that's 9, that's 5 on the renban. And then 5 is still up here in one of these two cells, with the difference now that the 5 is here. That means that's a 5. And I'm missing in here 3, 8, 9. 3 is not there. Neither is, it's just a single cell. Come on, sleuth. Overthinking things. This is a 3, 8 pair. Then down here it's 4, 5, 9. Not 9, not 5. Not 5 again. Just so that is the 5. 5 should be really nearly done now, isn't it? That's the last one, I think. Yes. So 4, 7, 9 in here. It's kind of interesting. 3, 4, 7, 9. That's an 8. And then this is a digit I should be able to place, just a 2. Yeah, 2s are probably nearly done. Yes, I forgot about that knight move. Come on. I didn't mean to do that, whatever that was. Thank you. Probably just shook my confidence a bit there earlier. But hopefully I will recover. 6, 7, 8. Now what are these? 5, 8? Yes. Can I resolve? Nope. Then in here, 7, 4, 7. Seemingly unresolved. Yeah, this is a good amount of progress. I think we've got it from here. So I'm sure you guys are going to have like a smoother solve than what I've done. Kind of made it a bit harder for myself. I thought it was difficult enough. That's really what happened. That was a 9. That was a 7. Let's just keep doing some more Sudoku. Kind of dig my way onto this one. 3 is in none of these. That's a 3. This is a 6, 8 pair. That's 6. That's 8. These are 3, 4, 7, presumably. 7 is not here. Pencil mark the whole lot. We'll figure that out later. And in here I need, hang on, I missed a 2 earlier. Then I need 6 and 9, which are seemingly still too far to actually resolve from anywhere. 4, 7, 9, that means this is still 4, 7, 9. If I can type. There's another 3, 4, 9 plus a 6. So one of these is a 6. And it's not that one. This is 3, 4, 9, all of which are still on the table. 6 in column 2 now can only be in here. That's 6, 9. That's not a 9. 3 and 4 still not resolved. Oh, hang on, they are. And 7. And not 7. I didn't mean to do that. And a known digit, which is an 8. So I have another 3, 9. No, I don't. That's 9. I have 4, 3, 4. And if I've not made any mistakes, any further mistakes, finish with the 7 there. It's a stunning puzzle, Megano double 3. So like I'm curious actually, and I'm sure that as you guys solve it, like I really, it felt like a bit of a shot in the dark for me to try and find this 2 in column 5 to essentially make progress. Now I'm wondering if I just made it harder for myself by not spotting this mistake earlier, or if that's a necessary part of the solution path. I mean, let me know in the comments for sure. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video, maybe the video, and I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.